we're here tonight to talk about the Epic Shasta event coming up. And let's introduce everybody. We have myself, of course, Rob Freeman, the organizer. We have Mark McNabb, who's been with me for the last 10 years, traveling around the world, videoing crazy things that we see in the sky and even around us. 21 countries, 10 years.
Sure.
A lot of cool high strangeness. A lot of it is on film. We have above Mark, we have Claudia, who is one of our trainers at the VWE, and she has her full Seeing the Room Mindsight open. Right next to Claudia, in my screen anyway, we have Dalia. And Dalia has been with us at VWE for quite a while now, from the was it the very first or the second seminar, Dalia? Second. And of course, Dalia's Seeing the Room in Real-Time Mindsight is off the charts. I think you can see behind you, above you, anywhere. And then Nikki, right below Dalia. Nikki, you were in the Orlando seminar and, you know, so full of energy and bubbly and beautiful smile. I thought, we've got to have you teaching people here. And of course, your Mindsight, your Seeing the Room Mindsight came right open. And then we have over here, we have Dave Palachuk. Dave was the national director for MUFON Canada. MUFON is the UFO organization that investigates, and Dave, you're a chief investigator. Dave is also going to be at the Shasta event representing CSSAA, the Center for the Scientific Study of Atmospheric Anomalies. Dave will be giving presentations all around that. And Patti, you are here, and Patti is a filmmaker as well. And she's going to be at the Shasta event for various support functions, including having her camera out. And have we missed anybody at this point? I think we have everybody. And so I'm just going to start by describing the event. It really came about because we've been doing the Mindsight training for about 7 years and 4 seminars now. But at every seminar, the subject of UFOs always comes up. And it turns out that about 80% of the people who take the Seeing the Room, you know, Mindsight seminars are also interested in UFOs. So the idea was, you know, since Marcus and I have been traveling around the world, and Mark actually put his hand at Mindsight at the very beginning also. So a big hand for Mark here. And then we had Dave in one of our expeditions for UFOs. He tried Mindsight and he had success as well. So you're in good company, everybody. But so, you know, Mark and I have been doing the UFO stuff, traveling around the world, expeditions for the last 10 years. And I originally got into Mindsight with the idea of using that to possibly be able to see UFOs outside of the visible. And we're actually going to put that to the test at the Mount Shasta event. So we're combining the two. We're going to be doing telekinesis in the morning. We've got a hypnotherapist, Alex Steffen, who is very successful in helping us out in the other seminars, using his skills to get us relaxed and to help our Mindsight come out. He's going to be teaching telekinesis. We will be using that to help our Mindsight come out as well. We'll be doing telekinesis in the morning. We'll be doing Mindsight in the afternoon, late afternoon. Mark and Dave here are going to be doing presentations around the UFOs. Mark's going to be showing footage of things over the last 10 years. And of course, we already talked about a couple of things Dave's going to be doing. And then, you know, in the evening after dinner, we'll all go sky watching. We'll have all this equipment set up. I've got all my equipment, got infrared, ultraviolet, full spectrum, thermal. I've got spectral analysis cameras. I've got different meters for EMF and radiation. There's time lapse. There's zoom in the different visible and invisible ranges. And Dave's got all his equipment that he's bringing. He's going to be bringing possibly a passive radar setup that will be able to spot things that are not visible in the air. And Dave has built 2 of the so-called dog whistles. These are the things that Jake Barber in the Skywatcher group has used successfully. They claim 100% success on these expeditions that they're doing. And Dave has built 2 of these. So let's just jump in. And if anybody's got any questions, go ahead and ask. And let's talk about the event.
So I have a question.
Sure.
So I know Shasta is known for having a lot of activity. I'm very new to the UAP scene. So can you tell us like what makes Shasta special and if any of you have had experience with it?
Yeah. So Mark, do you want to answer that question? You're the guy that does a lot of research.
Yeah, Dalia, that's a great question because Mount Shasta is famous for the energy that it has. There's a lot of, and a lot of people have through, I mean, this is decades of legendary experiences that talk about the energy of Shasta itself, the mountain, and even deeper with the legend that there's a base underneath Mount Shasta. Rob and I have been there on, I think, 2, maybe even 3 occasions, but at least, yeah, 3. Actually, it'd be 3 occasions. And everyone involved with contactism, like Ricardo Gonzalez, Sixto Paz Wells, Luis Fernando Mustajo, who's actually going to be there at the same time that we're there, which is very exciting because he's actually going to come and introduce himself. And, you know, all of the people that are involved with contactism, all of them go to Mount Shasta, every single one of them. And they all go in the same time frame, like this little 6-week grid of time. You know, so starting up in July and going all the way to the end of August, all the top international contactees, experiencers migrate to Mount Shasta for experiences. So there are a lot of stories, there's a lot of legend, and a lot of it deals with the energy that Mount Shasta has. And a lot of people feel that it's kind of like a gateway, maybe, you know, maybe a gateway, maybe a portal, maybe something like that for people who have an understanding of the words I'm using right now. And yeah, and we've had our own experiences. Rob and I could talk and talk about that. But
Yeah, I'll just really say quickly what our experience was. And also for the people watching the podcast here, Dalia is going to be at the seminar workshop demonstrating her ability. And maybe later on in the podcast, she'll actually show us. Nikki will be there also demonstrating and helping out as trainer. And maybe she will show us something in the screen tonight. Dave will be there. Mark will be there. Patti will be there. And Claudia will be at future seminars. So one of the experiences we had, I'll be real brief on this. We were on a farm that could see over to Mount Shasta. We were doing a meditation and everybody was supposed to be quiet. And we were all standing around a circle. I had my, we call it the WMD, weapon of mass detection, set up, and it was filming. It was aimed towards the mountain, and all the different cameras and all the different, visible spectrums and out of visible were all running. And all of a sudden, I heard a man's voice. And at first, I got annoyed. I thought, wait a minute, we were supposed to be quiet. And it sounded like a man talking, like saying a word about 20, 30 feet away from the group. And I thought, oh man, a couple guys have left the circle and they're talking. And first I was a little annoyed because I thought we all agreed we were going to be quiet and in a circle. So I opened my eyes and I looked and there was nobody standing there. And I immediately took my phone, I tapped it. So I got the time on the phone. I did a screenshot and then I just kept, being involved quietly with the group. After we had our evening Skywatch there, went back to the farmhouse that we had rented, and I went to that time that I had on the screenshot, and there absolutely was a voice in the video. And it said one word. It was a man's voice. There was a fellow with us, Dan Berg. and I said to him, Dan, what is this man saying? And he said, Rob, he's saying Avika. And I said, Dan, do you know who Avika is? He said, no. And I said, Avika is the famous female ET of the male and female partners, Antarel and Avika, who have been associated with Mount Shasta forever. And so we actually recorded the word, he said Avika, and it was recorded in all my video cameras. In the audio, it was recorded on every one. We've had a lot of other stuff happen in Shasta. People that we know and have known for a long time have had contact at Shasta with, I believe, Antarel. Antarel is a very tall ET being, very Nordic looking. We have only received messages from him. We haven't had physical contact with him. We received messages from him when we were in South America, didn't we, Mark?
Well, it's an interesting thing that I'll just inject. A really short piece is Rob and I had spent 18 days with Ricardo Gonzalez, who's had a 25-year relationship with Antarel and Avika, who have come to him on 7 occasions over the 25 years. One of those, epic experiences that he had was at Mount Shasta, and he had it with many people, including Paula Harris, who's a UFO photojournalist. So it was May of 2019 that we spent a lot of time with Ricardo, and 2.5 months later, and I'll go back, during that trip with him, we received a lot of different messages from Antarel about us, about the work, about what he felt, about what we were doing. And then 2.5 months later, we were at Mount Shasta and the recording happened. So it was kind of a full circle moment.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else with any other questions about the event or anything around? Go ahead, Nikki.
Yeah, I know we don't have Alex here with us, but he's going to be doing the telekinesis training. And I'm so excited about this because there's a lot of geologic anomaly there at Shasta. And I really think that's going to impact the telekinesis in a positive way. So, and I know that one of the things at his last training that he did at your seminar in London, we actually we got into teams and we moved the compasses and the elevation. We got elevation to change and compass points to change, through telekinesis. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen at this training.
Thanks, Nikki. And Dave, just talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing at Mount Shasta.
So you've asked me to do a couple presentations. The first one, of course, will be on my book that I co-authored with Chad Wanless. And I think you'll all be excited to see that and all the participants. It's how we've figured out how the UAPs are moving. So I'm not going to reveal any more. I'm bringing copies of the book for everybody. Thanks, Rob. And the second thing I'm going to do, unless you change the order, is I will be doing some presentations. Now, for those who don't know what MUFON actually stands for, it stands for the Mutual UFO Network. It's the world's oldest and largest non-government controlled or funded association around the world. And it's in 144 countries. We have field investigators who are properly trained. Like, you have to pass a very stringent test after taking a course that could take you 3 months. And you have to have 80% or better, and you are being trained on forensic investigations and how to handle people, especially experiencers. Chad, who co-wrote the book with me, is an experiencer, and he's going to be putting out his own book about that coming out this fall or late summer. So the second part I'm doing is I will be bringing a lot of cases from MUFON, especially around Mount Shasta. There are hundreds of cases documented, everything from people witnessing craft disappearing into the mountain to seeing or hearing Avika and Antarel. So I will bring the current ones and maybe some past ones. Maybe we'll have some photographs and stuff. And I'll be talking about a lot of other investigations that I've done, including Rob's famous orb, the biggest orb that we ever caught on video, which was in BC at
Squamish. Squamish.
At the Chieftain, at the big granite rock, the big mountain. So I'll be highlighting that, plus a number of other things. I might even give a couple secrets away of things that I have non-disclosure agreements that have now expired. We'll find out. I have to check the dates because they're both U.S. and Canadian because I have NATO clearance. So I have to be very careful. But anyway, so those are the two things I'll be doing. And of course, showing off the equipment, the dog whistle, which we've kind of called E-Tune, E-T. And mine's a little different. It is Jake Barber's, but I have, being electronic engineer, I have perfected it to the next level. Let's hope it works. So we'll see what happens. Plus passive radar, as Rob said. In the back behind me is a radio receiver, so we can track not only other frequencies, but airplanes, so aircraft. So we know that the passive radar is picking up an aircraft and not a UAP. But I have been testing it, and Rob, guess what happened yesterday?
Tell me.
The orange dot appeared instead of the green ones. The orange dot is an unknown reflection off a non-human craft.
Well done.
Right over my house. I'm just checking my MADAR units to see if they caught something too. And I'm bringing in MADAR unit too. MADAR is another device that has been out for many years. It's connected around the world. People who buy them, it goes off when things change, like GPS suddenly spins, compasses move, humidities go up, atmospheric pressure suddenly change, gravitational forces are detected. It's a great little device. It's very small, but it does an powerful job. And the briefcase, or as I call it, the nuclear football, the UAP football behind me has 5 computers in it, but I might pare it down. It's also looking for other things. We're going to have a lot of fun seeing if we can actually detect UAPs and NHIs, non-human intelligence. So somebody asked the question, what Mount Shasta is famous for. I've studied it a lot. This is the first time ever I will set foot on Mount Shasta. I'm looking forward to it. So.
There you go.
Wow.
Thanks, Dave. And the idea is we'll be at a different place every night. We'll be up on Mount Shasta. Mark, Dave, and myself, and some of the other folks that we know at Mount Shasta, we're just busy going over all the different places right now. But in general, in the past, when we go on these expeditions, we see how we actually feel that night. And we're probably correct about 80% of the time. For example, the Squamish Orb, when we came right to that spot, we turned at each other, all 4 of us in the vehicle, and we said, this is where it's going to happen, right here. And, you know, at some point later on this evening, and sure enough, at 10:59 at that spot was when we saw that big, what was it? You calculated to be about a 6-foot orb, Dave?
Yeah, 5 to 8 feet maximum, and it was going 35 kilometers an hour through the trees at tree top height. So it couldn't be the ISS, as somebody said, remember? Yep. And it also made, it was 2017, I think we did that. And was it? Something like that. It made the top, it was number 17 on the top 25 UAP sightings in the world.
Yeah. So, you know, the idea is we go by our intuitive sense of where we feel we should be each night for the Skywatch. And we're going to have a lot of intuitive folks at the seminar workshop. And for those that don't know, you know, the Mindsight, there's 2 levels to Mindsight. There's the intuitive level where you can sense, you can feel. Somebody holds color up, for example, you got your eyes closed or with a mask, you sense the color, you get a haze of color, you get a knowing. And we start into it at that level, and then we move into the seeing in the room in real time level, which, you know, Dalia can do, Claudia can do, I can do, Nikki can do. And in that level, you have little windows, we call them windows that come open. They can be like a little dot where you'll start seeing a color through it in real time. Those dots become bigger in little windows, like a pea size or an eraser, pencil eraser size window. And you look around and you can see detail through it. Over time, those windows get bigger. And so we're opening up our Mindsight. We're doing the telekinesis. Everybody can do it. And we're using those 2 abilities to connect and to be able to see things in the sky and to bring them in. So we're going to bring them in at an intuitive level and connect. And then Dave has the dog whistle. We're going to approach this from a scientific position as well. Now, Mark, can you talk a little bit about the filming? And everybody will have their choice.
Yeah.
If, you know, Mark's been doing documentaries for, well, 30 years or more.
Yes.
And can you talk a little bit about that? Folks will have their choice if they want to be potentially in any of these documentaries or not.
Yeah, ultimately, always respectful to the participants. You know, if someone opts to not want to be a part of the what I consider to be the historical filming side of this sort of event, you know, this is the first. I look at all the windows open here with everybody that's going to be in attendance, and it's very exciting because it's like all the best are coming together to be at Mount Shasta for an epic event. But if any participant is not comfortable, that's no problem. It's all about respect, and we have complete respect for everyone who wants to attend to just experience and not be documented. So that being said, if they chose to not do that, that's okay. But from the filming side, to just kind of get excited about the filming side of it all, Rob and I we made a choice early on to document every experience that we had. You know, it's unfiltered, it's authentic, it's not scripted. It's what we call factual documentary style. So it's you're living and breathing. You know, you're living and breathing the experience, and I'm filming it. Not like, okay, stop. You know, I want you to say this or that. It's just very organic, and just allow the moments to happen, and we film it. And it's filmed like a story, like a real time, in the moment story. And we've taken a lot of pride doing that. Just being able to have, you know, people that want to express themselves if they have an experience. You know, if they have the experience in the moment or they want to talk about it the next day, it's done discreetly, it's done respectfully, and we just talk to people, and we film that moment, and we take it from there. And then we put the story together. And I'm very excited about this because it's one of a kind. Like for me, it's extremely one of a kind. Rob and I have talked about this for a long time because Rob got involved with Mindsight probably more like 8 years ago. And he's built himself up to the point of having like what I call a PhD in both. He's got a PhD in being in the field as a ufologist. He's got a PhD 8 years later doing everything he's doing with Mindsight. So, and for me, my background is, hey, thank you so much. It's a treat to be able to film everybody having a great time and telling an inspiring story.
Yes, thank you, Mark. And I'll also mention here too that Mark films very discreetly. And for example, when we're learning the Mindsight, we don't want people to be self-conscious. You know, I've already talked about it in the participant agreements, but it'll be very discreet, filmed with iPhones from time to time, as we do in all the seminars. And that's for positive feedback purposes. And, you know, some of that may appear in documentaries later, but again, only for people who are interested. If there's folks that do not want to appear on camera, we're totally respectful of that. When we're out on the Skywatch, Mark will have his bigger, I guess you might say, cinematic cameras filming. But again, he's not in anybody's face. He's just quietly in the background because we will be seeing special things in the sky. And it is important to document the real-time reactions of people and the interactions with people for future generations to see. This truly is a one-of-a-kind event that we've come up with, that we're putting together here, and it will be a real shame if it's not documented. And maybe at this, go ahead.
I was going to say, as a journalist and publicist, I think this is a great story, and I'm so excited to be going with all of you. And Mark and you, Rob and Dave, are real explorers. You are the new world explorers of the sky, and I find it exciting.
Well, thank you, Patti.
Patti.
And I will say, for those who don't know Patti is an award-winning movie producer. You've had a long career, Patti.
Many years.
Yeah, and
Got
she
some
writes
laws.
children. She
Got
writes
some
children's
laws
books too.
changed.
Yeah.
So, Mark, for once, are you prepared to be filmed? Because Patty's going in the background shooting us doing our thing.
It would be
I've
my
done
honor.
research on you, Mark. I think you're amazing. I'm
Oh,
excited
thank you, Patty.
to see
I've
this.
been very excited to see you and meet you in person. So
You're-
no, it would be a privilege. I'm embracing the historical aspect of what we're doing. It's
Yeah.
a first time. So Patty, I look forward to you. I look forward to working with you.
And I hope to get a lot of publicity on this after to make it easier for Rob to get bigger groups and just
Amen.
do what he wants to do. And does so well.
Absolutely. And, you know, we have so much fun doing this. And Nikki, I respect the fact that you can't stay on for too much longer. Would you like to, only if you like, would you like to demonstrate a little bit?
Sure. Let me
Okay.
get the mask.
For everybody watching, so Nikki's going to demonstrate Mindsight. And once again, you know, I started from square zero on this and can do it myself. And Nikki's going to demonstrate. This is a mindful mask that's opaque. And Nikki is just going to take a couple of seconds to let her seeing window come open.
Okay.
Now, she's not looking under the mask. It's tight against her face. And let me get some colors out here. Nikki, I've got 3 colors.
Blue, yellow,
Okay.
pink.
Yellow, pink. Yeah,
Blue,
you
yellow,
saw it.
pink.
Okay, what
Got it
color
too
have I got?
fast.
Pink,
Okay,
Pink.
what color?
yellow,
Okay,
blue.
okay. Now let's up the ante a little bit, you guys. I've got these symbols. There are 7 symbols: circle, square, triangle, open or closed, and a plus. So I'm just going to grab one randomly here. Just grab one, and what have we got here?
Closed triangle.
Okay,
Oh, closed circle.
okay,
Closed square.
okay,
Open triangle.
okay.
Open circle. Plus. Open square.
There you go. So, and what color dice and how many numbers are on it?
It's a 4 yellow dice.
Okay. How about we take a couple picture cards, Nikki?
Okay.
What do we got here?
It's an orange. It says orange.
Yeah, an orange.
An orange. It's an umbrella. Red umbrella.
Okay. And what about that?
It is a pair of pants that are red.
Okay. And Dave, do you have something you can show in your screen? Are you able to see everybody else in the screen, Nikki?
I can. Let me replace pin with Dave. Okay, I got Dave big in the screen.
Okay. Dave, have you got something that's very plain to show?
Yeah, what's that?
Hold it very
wait,
close.
sorry,
to
I don't have Dave. I have Marcus. Sorry. Let me go pin. Hold on. Replace pin. There we go. Okay, back it up. It's just a little fuzzy. It's still fuzzy. It's fuzzy.
Hold something else, Dave, because the resolution is not very good.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping she'd not get the details, just what it was, you know.
Just grab anything like
yeah,
a nod.
I can read anything. It's if you can just make it not fuzzy.
Yeah,
I see your MUFON hat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay, it's a black like a block.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. One more.
Oh, it's a pencil cup, or yeah, it's a piece of a pipe with the white on the inside, black on the outside. Oh, give me a word though. Give me a word.
Does it
Words
so
are fun.
well.
Okay.
Well, oh, you want a word?
Yeah, give me something to read.
Oh, something to read.
You have
Oh,
a
okay.
book?
Yeah, well, no, I'm going to make this one really difficult.
CSSAA, and it
Too
says
easy.
center. Yeah.
There you go.
That's our group. The
Fantastic.
other group. Well,
Thank you, Nikki.
I'm impressed, Nikki, by what I've heard you before. It's amazing.
Thank you, Nikki. And
It's
we're
so
going
much
to have
fun.
Dalia in a minute, but if there's any more questions of what people who would be watching this might be interested in, just brainstorm a bit.
I wanted to
and
ask so you mentioned earlier that the energy is special at Shasta. People have commented on it. So I'm curious what kind of description they've had for the energy. Did they say it was healing? Did they say it was makes you loopy, or what kind of things did they
Well,
say?
I can speak a little bit about some of the cases that came through my MUFON that I've read. A lot of people had feelings of heightened energy that literally vibrated their bodies and made them tingle, but it was an incredible good feeling, they explained. So I'm going to try and find that case again
Oh,
because I think that person wrote a beautiful article of it. I have to find it. So that was one of the energy fields. Throw something else there, Rob. I've heard a lot of things.
Yeah, everything that we've been involved with is positive, Dalia. And gosh, we've had a few other experiences, but honestly, Mark and I document them, but we've had so many around the world, I can't even remember. Do you have any other information, Marcus, to
Yeah,
share with Dalia?
I'm trying to think. Whenever I think of Shasta, I think about Ricardo Gonzalez and his contactism with Antarel. I think about what we experienced. Um, a lot of it, I mean, a lot of it, usually involves orbs. There's some kind of interactivity with orbs, whether they
Mm-hmm.
appear in the sky or if they appear in the forest, because there's
Mm-hmm.
like a couple of little forested areas. You probably know this, Dave. These orbs that kind of come out and so I've read some reports where they're kind of playful. There's like a little bit of a playfulness to them, like and some people have even claimed that what they're thinking, and this kind of ties into what we're doing. What they're thinking, they're using I don't want to say third eye, but they're using something, some kind of an intuitive ability
Hmm.
to interact with them. So there is a level of interactivity. So that's exciting for VWE as well, right? Because there's that level of intuitiveness and a connection to energy as well. So I would say that's about as much as I know, Dahlia.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I would say I've heard many examples of healings that have happened on Mount Shasta.
Yeah.
Dave, you've probably gotten that in your MUFON reports as well.
I'm going to bring those. I'm not going to discuss them today because I want to make that a nice
Okay.
presentation. But Mark touched on something, the telepathic connection that has happened. You're right. People have that got close to the orbs on that area have basically directed the orb to move by just thinking it.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, wow, I wonder if this orb will move left, and it moves left to relative to the person. So, I'm going to try and find some of those cases. I mean, MUFON's been documenting cases for over 55 years now. That's how old this group is. And there's over 600 investigators around the world, but most of them are in the United States, and most of them are in California. So let's see what I can come up with, and hopefully that answer a lot of these questions. Before we go,
Yes, and Dave, also, Dalia is quite involved with telepathic things. Dalia has a telepathic connection with her daughter. And also, Dalia, I believe that you were working with the folks that put the telepathy tapes together. Can you tell a little bit about that?
yeah. So my daughter is she's a very, very good telepath. She's a non-speaking autistic, although now she's capable of saying a lot. She's improved so much. But yeah, we're actually being studied under very rigorous lab conditions and for her telepathy, and she's blowing them away. She's blowing the scientists away. And she's able to demonstrate telepathy where I'm across the room and she spells out the word, and it's a random generated word. And so we're actually doing right now. We are committed to doing peer-reviewed stuff with Stanford, and hopefully by September they want to have all of the experiments done, and then they're gonna do the article, and they're super excited about it. So anyway, yeah, I have been. So when you mentioned a telepathy, it's like, oh, that's going to be really exciting. My daughter has actually said that she does communicate with these kind of beings. With I didn't even know, I was never into that scene at all. I'm always about consciousness. I have an energy background and consciousness background, but I've never had a UAP background. But she says that they do communicate with us also. and that they, the ones that she communicates with are very benevolent, and they're trying to help us with our telepathy. And she mentioned that they communicate mostly through sound frequencies. So that's a little bit background on what my daughter says about it.
Do you believe in long distance telepathy?
Most definitely.
Good. You and I have to talk because I have a little thing I've had all my life. I know what's going on with my sister who's 5 years older than me and always have. And one day last year I shot up in bed, 3 o'clock in the morning, and went, "Oh my God, somebody's ill." And the next morning I called my sister who's 12 hours away, and she was taken to the hospital that night. It's like
Wow.
Yeah.
just
There's
and
lots of
I don't
stories
think
like
about it.
that.
Yeah, I don't think about it.
Lots of stories like that. And,
Yeah.
I just want to tell the people that come to our event, we're, in our presentations around the UAP and that, there's going to be time for Q&A. So people will get to ask questions. People will get to tell stories. When we're out on the Skywatches, it's a very super interactive event. And I would encourage anybody that has an interest in either Mindsight, telekinesis, or UAPs to come to this event. It's really going to be a one-of-a-kind event. And I know we've got to wrap up this pretty soon. Dalia, would you like to demonstrate a little bit also?
Sure.
I'm going to get my cards out here and get things ready. I've got some word cards.
I will do this mask.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So I've got word cards here now. So here we go.
So that's 3.
3. Okay.
That is by,
Okay.
was,
Okay.
from, he, here.
Okay. So that's pretty obvious. What about the picture cards? Let's try some of them.
So that is a horse.
What color is the saddle?
Green.
Okay.
And that's a cat. What is that? Orange and white. Upside down carrot.
Everything's
upside down cake, and then
upside down cake. Yeah, that's a real thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and then pink. And then that's a nest, a bird's nest.
Okay. And what's that?
That's an apple.
Okay, so it's obvious you're seeing the room in real time. And let's see what else. What color is the dice and how many numbers are on it?
That is a blue 5.
Okay, I rest my case. So thank you, Dalia. Does anybody have any other questions that you think might be of interest to anybody watching the podcast?
Yeah, one more question. I'm just like so fascinated by the energy and all of that stuff that's going to be there. Do any of you have a background in dowsing at all? And do people do dowsing there? I'm going to assume that they do. So I want to hear about that.
Well, Mount Shasta is like a spiritual center, just like Sedona. And I think, when you go into town, you're going to see people of all different stripes there, like in every possible iteration and everything around energy, spirituality, you name it, and you'll find it there at Mount Shasta. Anybody else got any questions or anything to say before we sign off?
I want to hear Claudia say something.
Well, actually, what I think is so fantastic. I'm so sad I won't be able to be at this event, but what I think is so fantastic, because all the seminars I've been at is again, we're going back to the energy, and we're learning and tapping into such abilities that are just so incredible. So I think that will just heighten everything else. I feel it's just going to be like, again, like Rob says, it's the first of its kind,
I know I've had some unusual experiences in my life. And so I'm interested when we get to Shasta, if anything happens with me, because I've had out-of-body experiences and things like that before, but they were usually centered around incredible events. And so this is going to be interesting to see if anybody here has something that's inside of them that comes out.
Well, you're going to see a lot of very neat things. We call it cool high
Yeah, I
strangeness.
was gonna say,
And
Rob.
you know, a lot of people get involved with UFOs starting with lights in the sky, but you know, you soon discover it's the things that happen right around you. And you know,
Yeah.
when we first started out, we had all these things happening around us, but it's like, no, don't pay attention to that. Where's the lights in the sky? And then we realized that all these anomalous things that happen around you are all part of this phenomenon. I mean, Mark had a personal earthquake in his room
In Peru.
in Peru.
Oh
Yeah.
And
gosh.
we, we were in a rented house, an Airbnb. We were on a Skywatch, you know, with Ricardo and Paula and all these folks, very famous folks. And I don't know what time it was, maybe 3 a.m. Mark knocks on my door and comes into my room with eyes as big as saucers.
True.
And he says, Rob, my floor is breaking up. There's like an earthquake. And I wasn't experiencing an earthquake. And I quickly, you know, my predisposition is to grab my phone and hit the record button, right? So I did just that. I went into his room and the tiles were buckling. They were going together and going up. I caught it on film, and there were orbs that were going around the room. I got it recorded. So, you know, it only happened in his room. So, you know, we have never experienced anything dangerous around this. It's always benevolent. It's always positive. You know, we did have a mini earthquake, but Mark was just fine. And we call it just a cool high strangeness event. And we're going to be talking at the Shasta event about all the different kinds of things that can happen. And it's all good. It's all positive. It's not Hollywood, you know, the kinds of, you know, things you see in Hollywood movies. It's not like that at all. Everything we've experienced and everything we expect to experience at Shasta will be positive and benevolent and uplifting. Anybody else before we all sign off? Okay. Well, you know, again, everybody, you know, we're all going to be at Shasta. Claudia won't be able to be there, but we just welcome anybody that wants to come to Shasta. The website is visionwithouteyes.com. You'll see the Shasta event. Just click on where it says to register and sign up. And we look forward to working with you, to getting your Mindsight opening, to having your telekinesis working, and to sitting around under the stars in the evening and calling in ET craft and filming it. And we'll see you all in Mount Shasta.